And there's my hotel, the Le Traverse. Hi, this is JP here. I'm out in the Mojave State Preserve. This is a little known area between Vegas and Los Angeles that's full of Joshua trees and just great, interesting kind of rock formations. I decided to come here to shoot the Milky Way. I've been up all night. Well, I haven't been up all night, but I would set up, sleep for a couple hours, set up, sleep for a couple hours. I came here because the Milky Way in June comes up and sits on that horizon out there, and it sits there for almost 8 hours. It's just a great time to shoot the Milky Way. So let's talk about how I track the Milky Way, the camera settings I use, and last of all, the battery power you need to be able to shoot all night long. Indipro just released a new Porta Pack, which is perfect for what I'm doing. It's a 98-watt battery that has the ability to use dummy batteries for either Sony or for an LP battery for Canon. Number one, how do we find the Milky Way? Well, first off, the Milky Way is only in the Northern Hemisphere in the summertime. In the wintertime, it's in the Southern Hemisphere. But how do you know where it's going to come up and which way to look? Well, first off, I use a thing called Star Tracker. And well, there's several of them. There's Star Tracker, there's Stellarium, but the one I love the most is called Sky Guide. The reason I like Sky Guide is because it has a search option, and I hit search on here and I just type in Milky Way and it comes up. And when I orient the compass, I can see, okay, it's gonna come up at about 9 o'clock. Last night it came up about 9 o'clock, but it was way too low to do anything because there's still too much light. So we had to wait until it got up to about 10:30 or 11. That's when I started shooting. Next thing to consider is the moon. You don't want to shoot on a night of a full moon because there's just too much light, you'll never see the stars. So you got to hit at the end of the month when there's no moon, no full moon, there's just a small waning or small waxing moon, just that little sliver. That's when you're going to want to shoot. The reason that takes so long, 4 hours, is because my settings are, I go wide open f2.8, I shoot a 20-second exposure, so my shutter speed is 20 seconds, 2.8 aperture, and I'm at 2000 ISO. And now I shoot on manual and I shoot on daylight. I do all those things. Now I'm going to change that daylight into what I like when I get into Lightroom with it, because I have all the options. I'm shooting in RAW. I don't want to shoot it any other way. I want to be in RAW. So there are my settings, and that really gives me now 20-second exposure. Means I only get 3 frames per minute. That means in 60 minutes, I only get 180 frames. So 180 frames divided by 24 is roughly 4, 5, 6, 7 point something seconds. So I'm only getting about 7 seconds, 7.5 seconds per hour. So if I do 4 hours, I'm barely getting a 30-second piece out of that Milky Way coming across the sky. So that's why I need 4 hours. And that's why I love using a slider that'll track it, just a little, it'll slide with it. So I can just pan and slide slightly with it in that 4 hours. I give myself a beginning point and an out point, so it just kind of moves with it slowly. And the Milky Way, it may move a little bit in the frame across, but at least I'm keeping it in the frame. Another thing to consider is your focus. Turn your autofocus off, turn your vibration control off, turn all that stuff off so that you just have manual focus. Now, sit up when you have daylight like today and aim your camera at a distant object. If you want to use autofocus, you can do that and focus there several times. So it's like as far away as possible. It's infinity. It's as far out as it goes. It's infinity. Then note where on the infinity symbol that focus point is. It's sometimes you can go past that and it goes actually back out of focus on lenses. It's really a weird thing. So you need to find infinity where it'll give you your distant focus. Now let's talk about the battery power. I mean, I've got 3 LP batteries going here, one for the slider, one for the pan device, and one for the camera. So that's a lot of batteries. At 4 hours, it concerns me that they're not going to work that long. And so I just have always done time-lapse with some kind of an external battery source. This is new by Indipro, the Porta Packs. They're perfect because it's a little cage with a block that you can put underneath your camera. You can plug your camera in now, and I can do time-lapse all night. I mean, I hardly used 1 bar. It comes with a splitter, so you can run 2 of the dummy batteries. I can run one to my slider and one to my panning device. So it's just a great setup to be able to give you all the battery that you need. And when you're out like this and I can't charge, I've shot all night and I can shoot all day now. I don't have to worry about trying to charge batteries. I've got enough power to do whatever I need to. and they're not super heavy. I've got one on a little clamp on the side of the leg here to run the two things for my slider and panning device, and this one I love just sits underneath the camera on top of the ball head. This is a perfect setup. So there you have it, shooting the Milky Way. How to find it, camera settings, and battery power to keep you going all night long and into the day. So keep those cameras rolling, keep on clicking. Make sure you subscribe to the Slanted Lens because I love sleeping in my car and using a plastic bag for a toilet to bring you great content. And all you have to do is click that button and subscribe.